Hello and welcome everyone to this new lecture in the Palo Alto series. Now, in this lecture, we will dive in deep about the concept of Palo Alto Firewall administrators and the administrator roles. In this session, we will explore different admin roles available in Palo Alto network firewalls, how you can create custom roles, and why role based access is a critical part of network. Now, this will be identical if you're using the Panorama or the Palo Alto Firewall. The difference only would be that you would sometimes maybe push the rules to the Palo Alto firewalls as well, administrators and rules. But basically, when you have the Panorama, you will have the administrators created on the Panorama itself, so that the admins will log into the Panorama and then maybe do the context switch to other managed firewalls. Now, here's what we will be covering: why the admin roles matter, predefined roles and their pros and cons, how to create custom role based administrators, authentication methods supported by Palo Alto, governance and auditing for admin activity, and finally, we will wrap up with a short demo on configuring admin roles. Now, the demo part, I'll record it separately. All right. So, we should start with the foundation question. That is, why do admin roles even matter? Now, first, admin roles enforce the principle of least privilege, giving users only the access they need, nothing more than that, right? So, you will be creating n number of admins for your Panorama or the Palo Alto, right? They help implement separation of duties where each administrator has access only to the part of the system they manage. Like they improve auditability and traceability by linking changes and logins to individual users. Now imagine you have one uh, admin and you are sharing the credentials between multiple administrators, and someone from those administrators did some change which caused the whole network to go down. Now when doing the RCA, you will not be able to identify who was the admin that did that change, right? While as if you had different admin accounts, you would be easily able to trace with which change done by which administrator the issue was caused, right? And lastly, admin roles significantly reduce the chance of accidental misconfigurations by limiting the permissions as well. Now, about the predefined dynamic roles, Palo Alto Firewalls comes with several built-in dynamic roles that are automatically maintained by the system. Now, these include the super user, then you have the super user read only, then you have the device admin and the device admin read only. Now the admin is the user that we are using since the beginning of the course, right? This is the admin user which you have uh, by default created, and then once you log in for the first time, you change the password for that. By default, the username and password is both admin. Then at the last, you have the virtual system admin. This is if you have the VCs is enabled. I mean the virtualization in the firewall, right? Dividing the single firewall into multiple firewalls, and those will be managed by different VCs admins. Like these roles are great for covering standard use cases quickly and consistently. Move ahead um, with a with the comparison of pros and cons of the dynamic roles. These dynamic roles have many advantages, like you have zero maintenance. They are automatically updated by the system. Once the PanOS is updated or any update has been pushed from the Palo Alto side, these are automatically updated by the system. They are fast to apply and good for standard use cases. Right? You can create an admin user on the go and assign one of these roles to it. But there are limitations as well. Number one is you cannot fine tune or customize what each role can access, right? It's already predefined, so you cannot customize more. So they don't also scale well for complex organization with specific needs. You will understand later what do I mean when we go to the custom roles? Now, coming back to the custom roles, this is where custom role based administrators come into play. You get granular control over what each user can access. Permissions can be assigned per interface, including you can have web UI only, or you can have CLI, which is SSH or console, or you can have just the XML API or the REST API. Okay, so only these permissions or one of these permissions or a combination of these permissions can be defined access to a particular custom role, and that role can be assigned to the admin, and obviously that admin will have that particular granular access to the system. And you can assign different access levels like enabling, then you have read only, then you have the disable option. Now, as an example, you might give an auditor just the read only access to logs via the web, but no CLI access, right? Or give a SOC analyst full access to only security policies. So, this is the type of granular control you have when you are talking about the custom role based admins. Okay, so next is a role-based permission scope. As I said, this slide visually illustrates how permission cascades, right? A user logs in using credentials, all right, and then authentication profile validates the login, and then a role is assigned, either dynamic or custom, then access is granted across different interfaces depending on roles. So these are the roles that I said you have. These are the interfaces that I said when you have customer roles, and you can enable or disable or maybe give read only to these particular interfaces for a particular custom role, or maybe combination of it. All right, next we have the authentication method. Now, Palo Alto Firewall supports multiple authentication methods for admin logins. You have local admin accounts, which are the username password, which are created directly on the firewall or the panorama. This is what the firewall and the panorama will have a local DB, and you can use these administrators to log into the system. Then you have the LDAP integration, like commonly used in enterprise environments. Then you have Redis integration, ideal for centralized authentication and accounting. Then last but not least, you have Attack Express integration preferred in some Cisco heavy networks. These external systems can be integrated through authentication profiles, offering both security and scalability. These are some of the authentication methods. I will show you the whole list of it when we log into the panorama. Now, we will do a demo of couple of these in this lecture, not this lecture, I mean in the coming up lectures we will be doing some demos. So I'll try to cover multiple of these. Then one of the main thing is the governance in audience. Now, it's not just about access, right? Tracking is just as important. Governance features would include monitoring system logs to track who logged in and what actions were taken, right? A particular admin, when he logged in, what changes he made. So this is where the governance in auditing comes into picture. Auditing commit history to understand the changes, regular password key rotations to reduce security risks, and certificate based login for stronger passwordless security. Now you have this certificate based login for the admins as well. I will show you, but I don't know, can I do a demo? I'll try to see if I can do a demo. But the idea is that you will have a certificate and then you will be able to log in directly. But this is only applicable to the web GUI. Then you also have the private and public key, which can be only used by the admin to access the CLI, I mean SSH to the Palo Alto firewall or the Panorama. I will keep a demo of that as well. Okay, next up is the dynamic versus the role based admin roles. Okay, to summarize the difference, now we have the dynamic roles, which is Palo Alto predefined, and automatic updates are there, and the administrator, which is a custom, like automatic updates are not available, so manual updates are required. As an example, as I said, if new feature rolls up in the upcoming, what do you say, update of the Palo Alto, this custom role might not have that feature um, in the list of what do you say list of list of features or list of things a user can do, admin can do, right? So you have to manually update the custom uh, admin role. And the flexibility of permissions in the dynamic roles, no, you don't have, because this is predefined and you cannot change anything in that. But in the custom one, you do have the granular control. You can add and remove certain access for the administrator. Use cases would be full control, common roles. I mean, obviously. Then you have the custom ones. You have delegated task, auditors, SOC access, etc. As I said, these examples would be super user, device admin, and read only. Here you can have custom policy, policy viewer, log reader, read write kind of stuff, right? With particular applications, or even you can have only a user which has access to the ACC tab and can do nothing else, or you can have a user with only SSH access and nothing else, something like that. All right. So this is the dynamic admin roles overview. As I said, you have the super user, then you have the super user read only. Now, super user will have full read and write access. This is the King Kong access. Like common use cases, this would be would be given to firewall admins or architects. Super user read only, which has the read only means access, and could be given to auditors, security reviewers, like that. You have device administrators, which can have access to config access, no system reboot, so that device admin cannot do a system reboot. This could be given to system engineer and operators. And then you have the same with a read only access, which can be only used to config the view the config only. This could be given to the L1 support staff, who can do the first what do you say RCA for anything, right? Logs collection and viewing the config. Then you have the virtual system admin, manage firewall, virtual firewalls only. If you have a multi-tenant environment, then this could be helpful. And then you have the read only for the virtual system admin, read only access to a particular virtual firewall. You can have managed service providers here. All right, then you have the role-based permission scope. As I said, again, you have the web UI, XML API, command line, REST API, and you have the permission levels that you can define. So this is how the actual, login process would take place. You have the admin user on the login screen. You provide the username and password. Then you have an auth profile, which would point you to either the local database or LDAP or Radius, TACACS, um, all the options available there. Once you have that defined, then it will fetch the permission from the particular database, and then it will be assigned a role, right? Whether it's a dynamic or a role based. Once you have the role will have the permissions that would be either web GUI, CLI, XML API, REST API, all of it, some of it, like that, right? Then you have the allowed action based on the permissions. That is the whole flow of how a user would log in and get the access. Okay, so that was it for the theory part of the administrators and admin roles. Now we will dive into the GUI of the Panorama, and we'll have some demonstrations and test some administrators and authentication methods. So stay tuned, and I will see you in the next lecture.